Hello, everyone. Blockchain is a buzzword these days, and we keep hearing about how it has a potential application in almost every industry. It is important for the management to have an objective understanding of the technology to make a call about whether to invest in building a blockchain solution, and if so, how. What we propose is a way to take advantage of the revolutionary changes distributed ledger technology, of which blockchain is an example, has brought about in recent years and even months. We believe this has the potential to simultaneously draw in more listeners and artists to Apple Music. To begin with, we will walk you through what distributed ledger technology, DLT for short, is and what it has to offer. Next, we will explore specifically what issues in the music industry will be addressed by leveraging distributed ledger technology and the subsequent positive impacts. Following this, we will detail several examples of how blockchain has already been transforming the music industry from both the creator and listening perspective. Finally, we will provide our strategic recommendation for the senior management team at Apple Music and list some potential challenges as well to be looked into before making a final decision. A technical overview. Blockchain is a specific implementation of a broader concept called distributed ledger technology, or DLT. Under the system, all transactions between the stakeholders involved in a business are recorded in an encrypted ledger, which is copied and stored across multiple locations. In contrast to the current paradigm of using centralized servers for storing data, DLT has several advantages. Security against hackers. Under a centralized storage system, a successful attack on the central node which stores all information can compromise the integrity of the system. With the distributed ledger, the attacker needs to gain control over at least 51% of the nodes in the network to make the hack successful. DLT democratizes the system. Since everyone has a copy of the database, DLT reduces the dependence on the centralized entity or the clearinghouse and empowers all stakeholders in the chain. For example, the artist and publisher are no longer dependent on the digital service provider to know who is getting access to their work and for what use. This increases trust. Every time a new block of information is created, all nodes in the network will be updated with the change, thus creating a verifiable and auditable history. This increases the transparency between the members and will encourage them to engage in more transactions with each other. Faster processing of transactions. The use of DLT eliminates the need to go to a central clearinghouse to validate the transaction, which increases the processing speed of transactions. For example, an interbank transaction can be processed by the mutual agreement of the members without the need for approval from the central bank or regulatory authority. The authenticity of the information, which is a result of the robustness of the crypto algorithm, replaces the faith in the central agency. The first popular application of DLT was the cryptocurrency Bitcoin, which was based on the blockchain architecture. Since then, a vast majority of applications have been developed, including those outside the cryptocurrency realm. However, blockchain has become a favored architectural choice, probably owing to its simplicity and most people being familiar with the idea. Simply speaking, it is a chain of blocks, with each successive block being updated with the latest set of transactions and a hash of the transactions in the previous block. With this understanding, we would now like to look into how blockchain can be used to solve some of the major problems affecting the media and music industry today. What is wrong in the music industry now? The way we create, distribute, and even listen to music is constantly evolving. The advent of digital distribution with free streaming services such as Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, etc. has radically transformed music consumption. However, from the perspective of many artists, producers, and labels, the industry is close to a state of total collapse. The industry has become an overly bureaucratic and dysfunctional infrastructure characterized by two fundamental issues: the lack of access to transactional data and inefficiencies in royalty payments. The music rights organizations responsible for assembling information about royalties and rights are over-inundated with massive amounts of microdata, which they are unable to handle in an efficient and timely manner. As a result, large amounts of money owed don't get deposited in time or even into the right accounts. Indeed, it takes an average of 2 years for an artist to receive adequate payments for his or her song, therefore leaving artists underpaid and struggling. Artists, however, are not the only victims of this antiquated system. Recording companies and music publishers spend significant amounts of their overhead tracking their artists' rights. The shift from physical to digital has led to an introduction of a new actor, music aggregators. However, the value captured by the introduction of this new player was not distributed evenly among stakeholders. Even with record labels losing their monopolistic distributional power and the transactional costs being reduced, the value captured by artists did not increase. The introduction of another intermediary, contrary to popular belief, only reinforced the existing information asymmetry characteristic of the industry. Artists often have very little to say in negotiations between labels and streaming services and don't know how to make it big, as well as where and when their data is being used. The money and power remain in the grip of a number of privileged record labels, publishers, and streaming services. Blockchain has the power to change this, but how? What can blockchain do for the music industry? The use of blockchain will result in more transparency and efficiency in terms of distribution and royalty payments. The added trust will encourage more artists to share their creations on the Apple Music platform, which will attract more fans and create a virtuous cycle. The key question now is, how will this work? Blockchain can solve these two issues in three different ways. Record keeping. Proper encryption of the metadata helps to identify the owner, payment rights, and other information attached to the media. Once a file is created, it is introduced to the blockchain network and made available to users. Smart contracts. Blockchain-powered contracts with automatically executable conditional terms such as payments and asset transfer. This application can be particularly transformative to the music industry as it supports automatic royalty payments to artists and any other actor that retain its shares. An example is a smart contract can be designed for revenue management with multiple usage rates to reflect the nature of use such as commercial purpose in bars and events, recreational use by individuals, etc. Data analysis and business model innovation. Information generated by transactions and made available through the distributed ledger means that by using techniques such as data mining, artists may have access to geographic, demographic, and purchase preferences of the users. This will allow them to generate tailored content for specific audiences. This is for you to review to confirm that DLT makes sense for a music streaming platform. We've used this checklist developed by the technology consultancy firm Hyperion. What's already been done currently in the music industry? Undoubtedly, copyright is one of the core resources for music streaming platforms. In China, for example, there is ceaseless competition between Tencent Music and NetEase Cloud Music to obtain more copyrights from independent artists and recording companies, and it never ends. YouTube, which already has a variety of media resources, is wanting its own slice of the digital music pie, launching its own streaming platform. Or the well-known situation of Spotify, as they faced a lawsuit of over $1 billion last year due to copyright infringements. They eventually settled with an undisclosed amount. Therefore, in order for Apple Music to sustain competitive advantages and build artists' and users' loyalty, offering robust protection to copyrights is a viable solution. It is strategically beneficial for Apple Music to find an appropriate way to leverage innovative technology such as blockchain as soon as possible while simultaneously benefiting artists and consumers. In 2016, as Spotify failed to obtain mechanical licenses, which refers to the ability of copyright owners to have control over their reproduced musical work, Spotify was then required to pay about $20 million for the unlicensed reproduction of work. As a result of dealing with these consequences, it required a blockchain-based startup called MediaChain in 2017 to resolve copyright disputes. Nevertheless, Spotify still couldn't avoid similar issues, as exemplified in their 2018 lawsuit settlement, as it takes time to upgrade the technical infrastructure for digital property rights management. For some more background on MediaChain, as we all know, images and songs currently can be easily shared online and quickly lose connection to the creators when they are reposted. The mission of MediaChain, as stated by the co-founder, is to construct a knowledge base rather than just a rights registry. It aims to create a completely open, decentralized, and universal media library that connects relevant information to media, such as images or songs, directly by leveraging blockchain technology. This is how the system works. Content creators register and publish the content via the MediaChain protocol to create MediaChain nodes. The creators and their works will be timestamped on the blockchain. This allows creators to check the history of reusage. If the source cannot be found, perceptual recognition technology is used to trace back to the source based on how the media looks or how it sounds. The attribution engine is developed to reward creators in proportion to the value they contribute to the community. This means creators will even receive rewards and credits when their work is reposted. A new cryptocurrency called CC Coin was built to reward creators. By incorporating a public DLT, Spotify is capable of rewarding artists when their work is reproduced, as the source of the original piece can easily be found. Now to look at some other examples of blockchain in the music industry. Companies within the music industry have already tapped into blockchain, realizing the disruptive potential, and will continue to infuse it with new energy. Now we're going to look at these three use cases, starting with voice. Our focus will be on four aspects: operating model, use of token economy, financial model, and key features. Voice is a blockchain-empowered anonymous decentralized platform with personalized token based on Ethereum's smart contract ecosystem for transactions. The key features: Voice is operated in the peer-to-peer network, which shields the music from being taken down or hacked. Recently, it's released a new mobile app. Their operation model: artists can upload music to Voice, set their own prices, and decide how they want to offer samples to their fans. Voice will recommend content to users and use a donation system wherein initially, there's only a small 30-second clip available for users, but after the donation, the entire song becomes available. For their token economy and payment, users pay with voice tokens and the transaction is visible to everyone. And artists can receive the transaction value from users without intermediary fees. Except the voice token can be used to pay the artist for their content, Voice also allows fiat transactions on its platform. Their financial model: they make profit by means of these five main ways: promotion. Artists can pay to show a song in the Discover section of the platform. Voice charges for a transaction fee if users exchange voice token with other crypto assets, and a minor fee on fiat transactions. Besides, the inbuilt radio system will bring advertising opportunities, and customers will also need to pay for customized profile and themes. Ujo. Ujo mainly enables rightful use of musical content as well as resolving payment issues between artists and intermediaries. It exists to transform the relationship between the music's creator and the audience. Ujo's system is designed to facilitate direct payments to the creator from the listener, correcting the delay between the payment and the event that triggered it. The specific artist's music rights are digitized and published within the Ethereum blockchain, enabling licensing of and payment for music with much reduced friction and no intermediaries. In order for users and artists alike to use Ujo, they actually need to download a secure digital wallet and send Ether in exchange for the album they want to own. After the wallet is created, the users send money via a smart contract, and then they are issued a license that grants access to the MP3 file of the music. The artist is paid concurrently with these actions. Ujo uses Ether for all of its transactions, as well as MetaMask as a digital wallet. This is a challenge due to the difference in global regulations. As for their financial model, the roadmap includes monetization plans for advanced features. Ujo's founders have built the platform with the support of Consensus, a venture development production studio that's helping a diverse range of developers build decentralized applications across a wide variety of industries, and they work with pretty well-known artists such as Imogen Heap and DJ Rack. Our ultimate recommendation for Apple combines the positives of the use cases previously explained, as well as leaving ample opportunity for growth. Audius is our final example, and they have built an audio distribution, attribution, and monetization platform based in San Francisco, California, a short distance from Apple and Cupertino. They have purposely built a service that leverages blockchain to stream music that is not technologically cumbersome. The founder stated, a user wouldn't even know that they have a wallet. The service is open source so that developers will actually have the ability to construct their own listening clients on top of the service. On their operating model, the operating model for Audius platform, creators can register their assets and generate immutable and timestamped records for their creative works to the Audius network. At the same time, artists can choose from pre-existing license terms or create their own and automate these payments, transfers, and issuances of license. Their dual token system has one set of tokens that are used by listeners and creators to pay for services and content. The second token is an Audius token for governance. The Audius token is used by service providers to help run the Audius protocol and is divisible and transferable with a fixed supply of 1 billion tokens. Their financial model on their roadmap, users accessing Audius can pay creators via two methods, pay per stream or subscription. On this platform, artists will receive roughly 85% of the total revenue, with the remaining 15% going to stakeholders. A key feature is that there are some protocols to ensure the operation of the Audius platform. Audius incorporates user-specific proxy re-encryption keys for content, a discovery protocol for users to efficiently query metadata, a community arbitration protocol to fairly and efficiently resolve disputes filed by protocol participants. With the decentralized governance protocol, artists, service providers, and listeners are individually and collectively enfranchised in decision-making about protocol changes and upgrades. It also raised $5.5 million in Series A funding, with participation from some of the top Silicon Valley investors such as General Catalyst, Lightspeed, Pantera Capital, all in 2018. Having demonstrated the utility of blockchain in the music industry, we would like to make a strategic recommendation on the way forward for Apple Music. In our opinion, the biggest difficulty in the music industry facing today is transparency in the management of digital rights. While it is possible to develop an in-house blockchain solution, it would require significant investment in terms of time, work, and ultimately cost. So the strategy to address this challenge head-on is to acquire a company that has already understood how to successfully leverage blockchain technology. The most viable way to enter the world of frictionless business through distributed ledger technology is to acquire a company already familiar with it. Specifically, again, we recommend Audius. Doing so will help you catch up with Spotify, which has already acquired MediaChain, as detailed earlier. Here's an illustration of what such an acquisition would do for the music industry. Audius provides an effective way to manage the digital rights of artists and their payments, has a decentralized governance protocol, artists, service providers, and listeners are individually and collectively enfranchised in decision-making about protocol changes and upgrade. Linkage, Audius's founder, actually has billboard-topping music in Sri Lanka and has been an entrepreneur in creative fields for years, so he understands the industry thoroughly. What Apple will bring is expertise in software development, encryption, and biometric verification, and a highly penetrative presence in the digital music streaming market. Has resources such as people, capital, and to scale Audius's model for a global audience. Has a strong presence in electronic hardware as well, which can spur further innovation, combining iTunes with Audius's blockchain to offer a simple content creation and sharing. The synergies between the two, democracy in the process of creating and sharing music to listeners. This will increase Apple's profile and corporate social responsibility, as you will be directly benefiting artists and listeners as well. Increased participation by artists and fans will result in the creation of a virtuous cycle. As Apple and Audius bring more artists on board, this will bring more fans, thus the cycle. And this will bring timely and appropriate royalty payments to the artist. Some challenges that might be faced are the disparate regulations across geographies, uncertainties around adoption by artists and fans alike, opportunity costs. Is it worthwhile to heavily invest in Apple Music rather than have other products such as Apple Watch? Technical constraints. During the process of designing architecture, there is a need to achieve a balance among control, data ownership, privacy, and access. The more control is exercised, the less the blockchain system will resemble the original idea behind the blockchain vision. Thank you for your time, and please let us know if you have any questions.